We are live now. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I was expecting Mohit to start, so there we are. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much. Honorable Minister Sir shall be joining us in a while. I take this opportunity um, for, to be humbled and honored that our eminent speakers and business leaders are here with us. I'm extremely grateful to NABARD Odisha for having partnered with us and PwC to have come on board with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Odisha is among the achiever states that has shown robust governance model, which is learning for several other states. The state has natural resources, the excellent policy framework, and most importantly, the leadership that's committed towards the people. So it's very apt for anyone to say Odisha is a state that has it all. When it comes to economic sector, agriculture has played significant role in our economy. The sector has developed over the years with the advent of technology, right policy intervention, innovation and value addition, and of course, changing consumer preferences. One element that is crucial is agri-logistic, and that is the central theme of our discussion today. It is well accepted and recognized thought that the logistic is the backbone of agribusiness, which enables connectivity between the production and the consumption centers in terms of space and time, etc. However, the sector has its own challenges. The infrastructure, road connectivity, lack of information, cold storage, warehousing challenges, and the very unorganized nature of the sector. Although efforts are on, but the gaps still exist. And this is why probably under the leadership of CGM NABARD here, and with the presence of our special guest, MD Epicol, and our partner PwC, we want to explore the key developments in the agri-sector logistics. We have gathered here today, and I'm really excited and looking forward to the deliberations of our eminent panelists who would be talking about the warehousing and the multimodal logistics. We will be talking about the agriculture policy of the state, the technology intervention, the changing scenario of the storages and the godowns. And I'm pleased that our experts who have such wealth of knowledge, they would be touching upon these key elements and advising us on the way forward on mitigating the challenges, how we can develop a stronger ecosystem. So with this, I would like my colleague Mohit to take forward the command, and I'm joined by Dhuval Rawalji, Chairman, Western Region Agri Sector. I would like him to welcome our honorable guest on behalf of SHM family. Over to Dhuvalji.
Am I audible?
Yes, please. Please.
Yeah. So, on behalf of the SHM, I welcome all the dignitaries and speakers and guests who are present on this digital platform and the participants. Today, we are having this seminar on the Odisha agri sector logistics challenges and solutions. On behalf of the SHM, first of all, I welcome Sri Uday Bhaskarji, CGM NABARD, Dr. Pravat Kumar Raul, special guest, who is a Managing Director of Apicol, Mr. Ajay Katra from PwC, and in short while we are expecting Honorable Minister Dr. Arun Kumar Sahu to join with us. Friends, we know that Odisha is a sun-rising state and it is a developing state. We know the Odisha for the metal and minerals, but also Odisha is a strong agrarian state. And the 76% of the population of the Odisha is dependent on agriculture. And the coastal areas of the Odisha are leading in the production of the various cereals and other agri commodities. The government of Odisha is focused towards the growth of the agriculture sector, and they have also formed a Samriddhi policy in 2020, which is focused on the farmers' well-being, and strengthening the agriculture sector and allied sectors. This policy is focusing on various 8 points, and I hope that during the presentation and discussion, various experts will throw the light upon that. But in very brief, I would like to say that agriculture in our country is very important for the growth of the bottom layer of our society. And we know the agriculture sectors, particularly the farmers, face so many challenges due to various change in the climatic conditions and due to the change in the various pricing of the commodities. And there are some perishable items which, if they are not stored, they go wasted. So the logistics sector development and supporting the logistics sector to the agriculture sector is very important for the growth of the agriculture sector. During this pandemic, we also noticed the issue of the food security. So storage of the food grains and distribution of the food grains to the society is also a very important part of our logistics and supply chain. Not taking much time, now I will request you all to apply your all thoughts and your focus on the development of this logistics and supply chain sector in the agriculture reforms in Odisha, which will enable the growth of the bottom layer of the society, and it will helpful to reduce the wastage of various agricultural commodities, and long run it will provide a platform for the farmers to sell their produce at the very good rates, reasonable rates. So I again thank you all and request you to be a part of this seminar and give your thoughts and interact with the speakers and experts to boost this agri and logistics sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words on today's topic. Now I would request our knowledge partner, Mr. Ajay Kakra, Agri Sector Head, PwC, to give his thought on today's topic. Sir, Ajay Kakra, sir, please over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot, ASSOCHAM, for organizing this event. So my initial thoughts about agro-logistics is that it's more like a critical part of the chain in the entire supply chain. So we'll have to look at it from that angle, and its importance is very high in terms of when you're looking at the entire supply chain. And most agri value chains, this is getting ignored. For logistics, we are not finding too many takers. Not much of improvement has happened. And if you look at Orissa, it's a very rich state in terms of agriculture. It has got some 10 agroclimatic zones. It has got multiple commodities. But when you see how they are linked from the farmer's field to the end consumer, that's where logistics plays a very important role. And on an average, around 20 to 30%, say around 20% for grains, while more than 30% for fruits and vegetable is being, I won't say wasted, but it's value deterioration is happening across the logistics supply chain. And more so for the perishables, because that's something which deteriorates very fast. It's also temperature sensitive, and it's also quality sensitive, very highly quality sensitive. So the knowledge report that we have come out with that actually looks at all these areas, what are the issues and challenges which can be taken care of, and from a policy perspective as well, what the government, the other stakeholders can actually do. It also looks into various commodities, because logistics doesn't make sense if we are not getting into the commodities segment. So from a commodity segment, it would actually provide areas on what kind of investments can be made to improve the supply chain, what kind of infrastructure should be done, and also what policy decisions can be taken up. And this would in turn benefit the entire supply chain in terms of making it more resilient, making our food security more robust, making the supply chain improved in terms of food processing industry, as well as in terms of other capabilities like integrated supply chain and also e-commerce capabilities can be developed in the state. So from this angle, there's a huge scope for investment. I would again say that perishables would form, which is the more sensitive part of it. There is a lot of scope for creating integrated cold chain logistics across the production areas to the consumption areas. While there can be new technologies also, we can see that a lot of technology has been changing, which can also have a better impact on the environment and make it more efficient, so that the farmer saves his money in transporting it from his field to the markets. So broadly, this report looks into these areas, and I am sure that it would be helpful for the policymakers, the stakeholders, even the lenders. I can see NABARD here. So it can also be useful for the lenders to get an idea where exactly it's falling short, how it can be improved, and what are the key areas for investment and policy. So I'll pause here. Over to you, Sachin.
Thank you so much, sir. These are very kind remarks on Odisha's agri and food sector and about how developing agri-produce logistics in rural areas. Now I may request Mr. C. Uday Bhaskar, Chief General Manager, NABARD Odisha, to give his thoughts on today's topic. Sir, please.
Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Shri Arunji, respected VC Agarwalji, OEAT, then respected MD Apicol, Professor Pravat Kumarji, then Perimenderji, Rawalji, Kakraji, good evening to all of you and other participants. Today's topic is agri-logistics in Odisha. In fact, I don't know what study and what report will come up. I just would like to share a few thoughts from the NABARD's perspectives or observations, which will help in a way to improve this particular activity. We all know Odisha is an agrarian state. There are very good policies in the state, and there is an agriculture budget, and we have very vibrant, dynamic leadership in the state. There are one thing that is missing is that credit flow to agriculture is not as significant compared to other states here from the bank's point of view. That first apology I would like to make. We are making our efforts to increase and upscale the credit flow to the agriculture sector. Then logistics means it is an organized transport, organized automated thing. Mostly it is done for the industries. But for agriculture logistics, it requires basically a volume of a scale of production. So first I would like to talk about the production related issues. So unless there is production and there is a demand, there will not be any movement of the goods or sale or marketing or improvement in the ecosystem. So first and foremost, the state is heavily tilted towards paddy, and we are becoming more like a sort of Punjab, a paddy oriented state it has become. A lot of procurement, storage, then again supply, it's all happening. That is good one way. Farmers are getting their money, but this does not take us anywhere to double the income of the farmers. And also there is a very well-defined agri-logistic system for the paddy because it's all in the public domain. So here we need not play much. There are about 4,000 odd rural godowns already geotagged by us, and we need more mandis, and we also have to go for ENAM. So these are all a few issues that will take us in a better shape. But before that, I would like to say that this state is a gold mine for horticulture, dairy, fisheries, and oil seeds and pulses. What not, you can grow anything here. Only thing is that we need to develop the backward linkages, promote the farmers, motivate them, provide the technical and capacity building. I'll take a very small example like banana. Even today, we are dependent heavily on other states for the banana, which is consumed daily. We have some tissue culture labs, OEAT is having, some other labs are having, and it is there in public sector and a few private people are there, but it is not adequate enough to cover the requirement for the state. So therefore, production level infrastructure also has to develop. And banana is such a product, it has got huge market in the Gulf countries now, Middle East. Now that China is procuring from Southeast Asian countries, there is huge growth for banana exports in the especially Central Asia and even Middle East. So a simple thing. Similarly, coconut, we are still dependent on coconut. Our coconut research farm is also requires a lot of modernization, renovation. So these are all production level issues. Apart from this, a very suitable crop is mango. Like UP, suppose we have to become a big player in mango, we need to set up and solve the production level issues, have good nurseries, commercial nurseries, private capital formation, and motivating the farmers. So these are all production level issues. Similarly, for oil seeds, many states, oil seeds, in fact, they have gone to cold pressing, startups have come up. So here again, in fact, mustard also is not so worth mentioning. Here it is in fact falling. So sesame we have already forgotten in this state. Even groundnut is also not significant. So these are all the crops where we have to push if we have to wean away the farmers from the paddy. So unless these production level issues are taken up, it will be very difficult to create a what you call viable agri-logistics system. So that said, we need to build up the agri infrastructure. And we have been doing our own way. A lot of wadis we have developed. We are working with the tribal farmers, and so many watersheds we have developed. In all these places, we are trying to experiment for that integrated farming, where you can boost the agriculture production. Now, another simple example I would like to tell is that potato. Potato, 80% we are dependent on another state, and only 20% we are able to produce. It's not because of our soil or lack of water or we don't have working farmers, but only thing we don't have a cold storage system that is available in the neighboring state. So to become self-sufficient, to produce in a particular scale, we have to solve these problems. So a cold storage system is also required in this. It is also part of the agri-logistics. So that said, we need to welcome the startups. We need to have an incubation center in OEAT. In fact, we are in discussion with OEAT. Something may happen. And we have also tied up with APEDA. 2-3 issues only I would like to suggest here. We have got an excellent place called Center of Excellence, very near to Bhubaneswar. It is in Khurda. After the cyclone, in fact, it is not in a proper shape. That requires a development, redevelopment, and also repairs. We can develop it as a very good pack house also for exports. Huge turmeric from our state is getting into Telangana, Maharashtra, and from there it is getting exported. We have got 6.43 curcumin in Koraput, and we are not able to export. Even we can have a curcumin extraction plant also, and so that the value-added product can be exported. So future is the exports. We have to show a lot of income. The young generation of farmers are not so patient. They will not be sufficient. They will not be satisfied with the income levels. So therefore, we need to develop a pack house and commercial flights, cargo flights that can take this agri-produce. Huge opportunities are awaiting for Odisha, right. And definitely this state can do a wonderful thing in future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. May I take this opportunity to welcome Honorable Minister, sir. He has joined, sir. Thank you so much. Welcome for having joined us. We have just started the conversation, and CGM NABARD sir has well placed the facts in terms of the opportunities which the state offers and the interventions which are required. And we'll continue with this conversation. Sir, you touched upon the exports. That certainly is a key area which we all need to work upon. And I think we can look at some exclusive discussions with regard to the exports of the products. So I would now request my colleague Mohit to invite our next speaker online, and we can then later on, then we can move on to have kind words of Honorable Minister, sir.
Now I would request Dr. P.K. Agarwal, Vice Chancellor, Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, to give his thoughts on today's webinar. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Fishery and Animal Resource Development and Higher Education, Government of Odisha, Dr. Arun Kumar Sausar, all my esteemed organizers and speakers, participants. And also I'm thankful to Mr. Uday Bhaskar, Chief General Manager, NABARD, for a nice introduction and touching some of the issue, which was also associated to OUAT. When we talk of Odisha agriculture, we have to understand Odisha agriculture in terms of production, post-production, marketing, and economics point of view. So today we're talking logistics, but before talking logistics, I'll touch 1 or 2 points. More than 92% of the farmers are marginal farmers in Odisha. We have 10 agroclimatic conditions that gives us a lot of strength for production. We can produce variety of product from Odisha, for Odisha or outside Odisha. So great scope for us. Our soils and water availability is very high. Also, we have capable manpower. We have diploma holder. We have graduates and all kind of certificate course. All kind of capacity building is available from the state, from the university, whatever. There is a lot. There is a government will that everybody told. Odisha is one of the very few states in the country which has a forward-looking and a very supportive policy and related system. And one more factor nobody will deny, that today not only is a production issue, post-product losses from production, almost more than 50% are lost. Only vegetable and fruits, you say 1 lakh hectare, 1 lakh crore plus is lost in the country. So also for the state. With this background of having very good land and water, very good product potential, having a variety of agroclimatic condition and all other supportive role. Now it is a challenge for us to convert the potential to in terms of economy, in terms of export, in terms of business, or in terms end of the day, it is the livelihood of the people and economic of the everybody, farmer, businessman, everybody. When it comes to logistics, 3 very important logistics are input. It may be seed, fertilizer, pesticide, equipment, machinery, or post-production machineries. Second logistic will be resource-based. It may be water, irrigation, farm power, energy, all the related issues. And third will be institution like agriculture, research, extension, education, information communication, financial service, marketing, like that. So unless we make all the things happening, probably end of the day we may not result in a significant achievement. So my only submission will be, when we analyze all the issues, let us see everything in a holistic way. You need a proper land, proper production technology, proper diversification. If it is integrated farming, then proper marketing. It may be in cooperative mode, it is in FPO mode. I am very proudly telling today we are supporting more than 75-80 FPOs from the university, and without that also a lot of people are there. Odisha has a target of 400 FPOs in short term nearby. So we have to involve everybody. One more area I normally touch many times, bringing the youth to the agriculture. They are one of the very potential component where today they don't enjoy agriculture, but they can be turned to manager, they can be turned to supportive and logistic provider, they can be involved in a number of activity. And also we have started a certificate course for the young people of who could not got a higher education. Also we are producing para-professional in almost every subject. This is one occasion I'll request my industry friend. You may not need a degree, a graduate LOAs or postgraduate LOAs. You need a professional who are not very highly qualified, but they are productive. So I request all the industry friends who are involved in production to marketing to export, please come to our campus, take the capable diploma holder, para-professional. They will be very resource, they will be powerful supportive role for you. And end of the day, I won't drag too much. I limit to 5 or 7 minutes I have given to me. But one more point Mr. Uday Bhaskar touched is about cold storage. If you make a cold storage with small size of 15 to 20 tons, having 8 to 10 lakhs rupees you can make, and a cluster of villages of 10 to 15 village or 8 to 10 village, a lot of fruits and vegetable you can keep for 15 days comfortably with this money. It is not a big cost, and that will give a lot of buffering to the production of perishable product. That is true for coconut, which where the plant has the from root to shoot, everything can be used for economic purpose. That is true for banana, which he touched. So my point is, Odisha has huge potential and lot of opportunity. And my industry friends, I request you to have come with us to play the role together, so that farmers of Odisha and Odisha economy become better. Thank you so much, and will be available for our service wherever the industry wants. Like American academia, where industry has a very big role to play to support academia, and academia play a big role to industry, support the industry. India, it has not happened so much. At least Odisha will start it, and I commit you will support the industry, and we will look for the industrial partnership to take the agrarian economy to a higher heights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Agarwal sir, for your kind words and thoughts on overall Odisha's agriculture scenario. Now I request Professor Dr. Parvat Kumar Rao, Managing Director, Apical, to give his remarks on today's topic. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Honorable Minister, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Fisheries and ARD, and also Higher Education. Revered Vice Chancellor OUAT, Dr. Agrawal, CGM NABARD, Mr. Kakra from PwC, Mr. Raul from the Chairman Agri Sub-Council of ASSOCHAM, Madam Kaur, the Director ASSOCHAM, learned panelists and participants connected to us through this virtual media. We have been listening to deliberations on Odisha agri-sector logistics, challenges and solutions. So that means not only the questions, but also the answers. As we all know, that agri-logistics deals mainly with the smooth supply of food and other agricultural products from production point to the final consumer, ensuring minimal loss of quality and quantity. These two riders are there, that there should be as less as possible so far as the loss with respect to quality is concerned as well as quantity is concerned. And it is also said, discussed, deliberated that logistic or agri-logistic is the backbone of agribusiness. So I am in a different position where on the other side, the mandate of APICAL, as we say, Agricultural Promotion and Investment Corporation of Odisha Limited, its mandate is promotion of agribusiness in the state of Odisha. Thus, APICAL may be considered as an important partner for supporting the logistic sector development in the state of Odisha. So I understand our responsibility so far as APICAL is concerned. And agri-logistics takes into account various aspects, as it is discussed by previous speakers, including Revered Vice Chancellor and also our CGM NABARD. It also takes into account preconditioning, storage, transportation of farm produce, and in the current scenario, the improved logistics may also include the cold chain so far as perishables are concerned, safe storage of food grains, and also more importantly, the change in form, or in the present scenario, as we say, food processing. So these are the broad domains of agri-logistics that we are looking for so far as the agri sector is concerned, and the state of deliberated the strength, weakness, requirement so far as agri-logistics scenario in Odisha is concerned. But establishment or provision of these facilities are well supported by APICAL through its flagship project, Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, which is open for establishment of agri-enterprises in the sectors like agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, animal husbandry, food processing, and also agri-export. So in the eligible entrepreneurs list or enterprise list, apart from individual and partnership enterprises, the present generation entrepreneurs, maybe FPOs, farmer producer companies, self-help groups, cooperatives, they are also eligible who can avail the benefit and maybe encourage to establish their enterprises, and their enterprises also includes a long list of enterprises which can support agri-logistic in the state. Incentives as a capital investment subsidy to the tune of 40 to 50% depending upon the category as well as per the scheme norm, limited to 50 lakhs are available, and several logistics sector enterprises are listed among the 92 eligible enterprises that has been approved by the state government. To name a few, particularly in the intersectorial logistics, export-oriented agriculture, horticulture, fishery and ARD, refrigerated van, cold storage, cold rooms, pre-cooling chambers, mechanized sorting, grading, packaging, solar cold storage. Somewhere we are also discussing about technology driven. So now it is the era of renewable energy, obviously solar cold storage, cold chain logistics, rural godowns. Similarly, in the animal husbandry and veterinary sectors, we may think of milk processing, meat processing, egg processing. In the fisheries sector, maybe IC plants, IC flake plants, harvest and post-harvest technologies for vessels, gears, etc. And in horticulture sector, as our CGM NABARD was referring to, that this we have a lot of opportunities, particularly with respect to cashew, coconut-based products, honey processing units, fruits and vegetable pulp extraction, dehydration and canning of vegetables, frozen fruits and vegetables. And in agri sector also, there are many opportunities like seaport, air cargo complex for perishable agriculture and allied items. My purpose of saying is that Government of Odisha in the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment under the able leadership of the Honorable Minister, we are very open how best these facilities or incentives given by Government of Odisha can be availed by our eligible, qualified, the present generation entrepreneurs, so that two things, I can say three things, three major things we can address. Number one, with respect to development in agriculture sector, a boost to agriculture sector through provision of agri-logistics, enhancement in production, enhancement in employment, and obviously enhancement in income also. And if we look at our agri and horti sector, we have many strengths to our credit. Sometimes we are discussing, we are fast in sweet potato production, paddy straw mushroom. We are third largest producer of a cashew, fourth largest producer of a fish, fourth largest producer of a shrimp, fifth largest producer of coconut, sixth largest producer of rice, seventh largest producer of vegetables. 3% of total flower production takes place in Odisha, but we know the limitations of controlled environment and also its marketing, packaging, etc. And also apart from that, 5% of total spice production is there in the state of Odisha. So if we look at three things in on a common platform, somewhere it was discussed that Odisha is a sunrising state. It is an achiever state, and because of its leadership and also able policy framework. So these things are well available there, and if we provide necessary logistics and also avail the schemes, provisions made under the schemes and the program, obviously it will contribute to the overall development of the state, and agri-logistics support is the need of the hour. Thus, a lot of scope and opportunities are there for agri-entrepreneurship in agri-logistics sector and for promotion of agri-business in the state of Odisha. So this much I wanted. My exclusive focus was how to avail the opportunities given by Government of Odisha through Apical. We can encourage young entrepreneurs to establish their enterprises with respect to agri-logistics, and ultimately they will contribute to the overall development of this state. Thank you for your presence here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing in detail the various policies and schemes are available. And as you rightly said, strengthening the logistics would strengthen the whole ecosystem, and that's the whole purpose. And we will continue discussion with our panelists who would take cues from you, what you have said. Honorable Minister, sir, with your kind permission, we would now like to release the report which has been prepared under the support and guidance of NABARD in partnership with PwC. And then we will humbly request Honorable Minister, sir, to say a few words. Minister, sir, this is a study report. We are extremely grateful that NABARD supported. We would like to congratulate NABARD for completing 40 years of their service to the nation. The report has been supported by them, and we would be sharing copies of the same with all the stakeholders. The report is focusing on the logistic challenges and has offered some solutions, which of course we will add more from the deliberations of today. We sincerely acknowledge NABARD for all its effort and thank our partner PwC for the same. Honorable Minister, sir, we would now request you to share your thoughts, your vision for the state. We are fully aware the kind of exemplary work the state is doing under your leadership. However, it is very common to say that industry would always like to hear from the minister what more is there. So, Honorable Minister, sir, over to you for your kind words.
Thank you so much. Odisha Agri-sector logistic challenge and solutions. This webinar organized by ASSOCHAM, all the dignitaries, Mrs. Kaur, Director, and Mr. Rao, Mr. Raja Shankarji, Raja Bhaskarji, our Dr. P.K. Agrawal, Vice Chancellor, UAT, Professor Raul, and all the dignitaries, participants. It's my pleasure to be with you in this national conference on Odisha Agri-sector logistic challenge and solutions. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Associate Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India and NABARD for making possible this national forum for discussing Odisha's agricultural logistics sector. These solutions should lead to better supply chain management in the state's agriculture, reducing inefficiency and increasing farmers' realization, as well as curbing food wastage. The focus should be on improving production, reducing food supply chain losses. Agriculture is the lifeline of the state's economy, as it provides employment to about 62% of the total workforce of the state. Small and marginal farmers constitute more than 90% of the farming community. Under the able leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik ji, we are marching ahead in this agriculture sector. This state has taken several steps for the development of agriculture and allied sector. Whether it is fund allocation or it adopting innovative practices for increased farm production, we have been actively engaging with farmers to ensure their needs. Despite several hurdles like frequent occurrence of natural calamities with erratic monsoon, uneven distribution of rainfall, agriculture production over the years has increased, and as a sector it is growing. We have witnessed farmers' income has grown, and in fact, compared to some of other states, its growth much better. And it is better than also national average. Odisha agriculture is faced with the calamities almost every alternate year. During last 100 years, Odisha faced 135 number of natural calamities like drought, cyclone, flood, pest attack, all the things. Odisha is now a surplus state in paddy production. Odisha is ranked fourth position in paddy production with 7.7% share in the country. Though in many sectors we have achieved a remarkable growth, yet our aim is doubling, multiplying farmers' income. The state was awarded with the prestigious Krishi Karma Award for the 6th time. The government is committed to usher in a sustainable and inclusive growth in the agriculture sector, as the sector is still mainstay of our economy. The policy aims to untap the potential of agriculture while ensuring growth process environmentally, economically, and technologically inclusive. Samruddhi is based on 8-pillar strategy focused on simultaneous reforms. The Department of Agriculture and Farmers Employment is strictly adhering to the 5P Charter and more Sarkar. The policy also identifies and suggests mechanisms to orient governance reforms towards farmers' interests. Some of the good learning of Enam portal, Gramin Agriculture Market have been laid down in Samruddhi. Samruddhi means 2020 new agriculture policy. The policy also emphasizes development of warehousing and quality testing infrastructure for better marketing of the crops. Logistics plays an important role in agricultural production and supply chain management, ultimately enhancing food safety and quality. Improvements in rural logistics help farmers to harvest and market crops more efficiently. Developing rural logistics can result in effective and efficient distribution channels between urban and rural areas, improve the quality and value agricultural production. Ultimately, it provides low-cost, high-quality consumer goods to the countryside. Agri-logistics is the backbone of agribusiness, which enables connectivity between production and consumption centers. The department is promoting farmers producer organizations, FPOs, and agriculture production cluster projects for holistic development in production, value addition, and organic marketing. It is also actively involved in the implementation of 5P intervention of the department, especially on doubling farmers' income, financial incentives for crop diversification, support to women SSG for value addition, market linkage, and online marketing of the various projects. With good processing and marketing, the state can achieve much higher production in cereals, pulses, oilseeds, vegetables, and allied sectors. Marketers are already there, which procure more than 50% of paddy. Price support system enables procurement of pulses and oilseeds. With a little more emphasis, the procurement will enhance, which will ultimately give benefits to our farmers. The existing network of procurement centers at tax level are being strengthened to benefit small and marginal farmers. We are encouraging use of technology to help our farmers. Our officers, experts from various fields have been helping us, but yet we are open to new thoughts and we welcome action-oriented solutions from the programs. From this program, I conclude with the call for your active participation in the forum and share with us your insight and knowledge on emerging agricultural issues and solutions. I hope the deliberations would bring out more clarity on agricultural developmental issues and the objective of transformation agriculture into farmers' welfare and prosperity while maintaining quality of natural resources. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir, for having presented your thoughts. Sir, our vision today is basically to take up these matters. There is a huge potential and there's a huge support which is being extended by you. And through our panelists, these are some of the issues which we want to take up. And we will be continuing with this conversation. And whatever is discussed today, sir, we will come back to you again, present all those thoughts of ours to you. Hopefully, we are able to travel down and meet you. Otherwise, we will again request this kind of a virtual interaction with you and meet, because many of the people who are here, they are sitting either in Delhi or Mumbai and different places. So travel is a challenge these days. So we will keep the protocol in mind and see when best, when the situation permits, sir, we would like to come and meet you in person, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind time and your valuable inputs. We will continue the conversation with our eminent panelist. Over to Mohit, please.
Thank you, everyone, for your valuable time. The next 1 hour will be our plenary session, and we are having eminent panelist, Mr. Sandeepan Ghosh, MD and CEO, Milk Mantra, Mr. Gauri Shankar Mishra, MD, Dearborn Agronutrient, Mr. Abhishek Anand, Regional Manager, Odisha Central Variation Corporation, Mr. Ranjit Kumar Bada, Vice President, Odisha Cold Storage Association, and Proprietor, Jai Guru Cold Storage, Cuttack. The next session will be moderated by Ms. Rashmi Das, Executive Director, PwC. Rashmi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Mohit. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister, sir, and Assocham, and all the panelists. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a great pleasure for being a part to this. So it was a pleasure to heard from everyone about the agri-logistic, though, and also very proud, feeling very proud that PwC is the knowledge partner for this. Thanks, Ajay, for all this. And over to the panelist. So let me ask Mr. Anand, Mr. Abhishek Anand, about the, as I understand, he has vast knowledge in warehousing, infrastructure, and multimodal logistics. So let me ask him 1 or 2 questions. We have some eagerness to know more. So it's Mr. Anand, what are some of the successful initiatives in the state for agri warehousing and logistics? What are your views on that? I mean, what are these successful initiatives? Over to you, Mr. Anand.
The best what we can explain that the total capacity of public warehousing in Odisha is 11.82 lakh metric ton. It is I explained that we have the presence of agri warehouses in all districts of Odisha. Out of 30 districts, we have warehouses in all the districts. In what we say that in our central warehousing corporations have 3.36 lakh metric ton capacity in 15 districts out of 30 districts. And if we go for Odisha State Warehousing Corporation, they have 5.35 lakh metric ton capacities in all the 35 districts. And if we look at FCI has 3.11 lakh metric ton capacity in all, in 9 districts. So overall the capacity is 7.82 metric tons approx, and we are storing successfully. You know, we know that Odisha is surplus state in rice, and if we see that we have built additional capacities in those districts where the yield and production is surplus. Likewise, if you go for the burger, then in burger, if you see that the capacity is more than 1 lakh ton capacity. only CWC has 53,000 empty capacity. And if we go for, we see that State Warehousing Corporation, they are also operating with 57,000 metric ton capacity. So these are the, we can say that for cereals and production, yes, we are lacking somewhat like in cold storage, but for general warehousing and the storage of cereals, we have sufficient and capacity in all the districts of the Odisha. So we can say that we have surplus in surplus districts. We have adequate capacity, and so at least we are storing all the commodities. Likewise, cotton in southwest Odisha, we are storing cotton grains, ragi in southern Odisha, and maize we are storing. We are storing rice and wheat, which is coming outside from the state. We are also storing from coastal and western Odisha. So these are the initiatives, and with this, I conclude this question. Any other questions? I am ready to answer.
Maybe one more question I would love to ask you. So what do you think, what impact do you see in terms of COVID-19 crisis? And how can the state manage the impact and disruptions caused on the agri warehousing and logistics sectors?
No doubt, pandemic has suffered. We are suffered with pandemic, and we have served continuously during first phase also, in second phase also, and we have handled more than 410 railway rakes in last financial year in 2020. You can see in first phase of COVID, and still under PMJKY Yojana, we have handled 97,983 metric ton. I am talking about CWC, but the figures with me. So we are serving during the pandemic also, and for the farmers, procurement is going on. So you can say in the state of Odisha, throughout the pandemic, there is no hindrance in work throughout the agri sector, logistic warehousing. Our warriors are working and serving the nation. So COVID, we can say that in our sector, it is no effect. We are serving to the nation and people for the throughout in first phase also, in second phase also. Still it is going on. So, that you say the impact and disruptions caused by the peoples have suffered a lot. Civilians have suffered a lot, that we are facing, we all are facing. But as a public sector and as a leading warehouse agency, our staffs and employees are working hard day and night for serving to the nation and farmers. That's all.
Fantastic. I mean, so we managed it quite well. That's what you want to say. Of course, there are some issues with the people side, but rest all is well taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Anand. So Mr. Mishra, as I understand that you have limited reach to have some issues with the mandis, and then a system of sale and price discovery. So let me ask you one question. Do you think the existing marketing system in the state needs changes or any improvements or catchment area and accessibility? If so, then what are those? Mr. Mishra, over to you.
I think Rashmi, you may like to.
Mr. Mishra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
let me ask other questions to other panelists. Hope Mr. Ghosh is there. Mr. Sandipan Ghosh, are you there in the call?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can. So let me ask you then the questions.
Yes,
So
please.
Milk Mantra has already created a trusted brand, okay? And it's already owned the heart of people in the state, right? So let me ask you one question. What are the challenges faced in the dairy logistics and what are your recommendations?
Right,
I
Rashmi.
mean,
First of all,
especially for the state context.
correct. So thanks, Rashmi. First of all, thanks to ASSOCHAM and also to the Honorable Minister. And I was hearing patiently about his policy and the way he has addressed the forum. Now coming to Milk Mantra, as you know, we are into the phase of dairy, and we are 100% B2C dairy organization. And it is true that we have created a lot of trust as well as one of the preferred brands in the state of Odisha by the consumers. But what also happens by being preferred and building on trust, we need to ensure that on a daily basis, we create integrity of the raw milk which we are collecting from almost around 500 plus collection points, means 500 plus villages, through which we collect raw milk spanning across 11 districts of Odisha. And that creates a very delicate balance of timing because of the bacteria formation, which we all know, which happens in dairy, and we need to maintain the temperature integrity for that. And at the same time, we need to also see that how from the village collection level, the milk gets transported to bulk milk cooling centers, and from there it reaches to the factory grade. So that's the first leg of distribution of raw milk. What happens from the collection from the farmers gate to the factory gate. And I must compliment here the state of Odisha, because I travel across villages and meet the farmers. The accessibility which has been built on in terms of the road infrastructure is really something which is commendable, and which goes to the very deepest and farthest corner of the villages. And that is something which is really creating a lot of good accessibility for the farmers to get the milk to the collection points, and then the collection points, it goes to the PMC points in terms of the transportation, the primary logistics. However, saying so, what I look at from the dairy perspective in terms of the Odisha can create is a very strong dairy sourcing hub. And that itself currently is a challenge. What do I mean by a dairy sourcing hub? This means that we need to have a very strong integrated logistics part. If we can create for dairy facilities, that will be a huge advantage to promote transportation for fresh milk and fresh dairy products. For example, we don't have, as I was hearing to Anand, Mr. Anand also, he was mentioning that there is a challenge in terms of cold storage logistics, right? In terms of cold storage. And dairy, as you know, is operating in the class 4 as well as in -18 in frozen form, be it in butter, cheese, or milk, or powder, or the milk powder, or the fat and the cream. To that extent, we currently in this state, we lack this facility. So my proposal over here is, if we can create a very strong dairy source hub with a logistics park in place, which can cater to this cold store management, this will be a huge bonus and a support to the dairy fraternities or the dairy organizations which are operating in Odisha. So that's point one. Point two, which I wanted to talk about, is the fleet management. Now, in dairy, as we know, that all the products, be it in the raw milk or the finished products, travel into a cold chain system. It requires a cold chain movement, which is either in +4 or -18, which is in frozen form or in chilled condition. And here, the lack of availability of fleet for transporting these products is creating a lot of challenge, which eventually creates a deterioration into the quality of the finished products, or it becomes an extra cost which needs to be managed in terms of maintaining the product integrity. What I want to say here through this forum is to create a strong platform of support and incentive mechanism for the fleet providers to invest into cold chain fleets, to create refrigerated vans, and that needs to be passed on to the dairy operators, the manufacturing operators who are actually transporting the finished products. And this is something which we require as an industry to be developed in Odisha. And these two, when I'm talking about the storage facility in terms of the cold storage facility, this fleet management and creating very powerful, strong dairy sourcing hub, that will create Odisha as a state, a powerful state, not only for the region of the state perimeter alone, but also to go beyond state and cater to our neighboring states of Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or West Bengal or in down south. So I am looking from that perspective. I am very happy also to share in this platform that we are country's #1, we're the first one in this country to introduce traceability through our blockchain management. Now, why I'm saying so, this is an extremely critical aspect in terms of creating transparency and trust across the value chain. And logistics play an important role along with the document of traceability to travel to the end point, right from the sourcing to the last mile, correct? And this is where I think Odisha should take some initiative in terms of creating an infrastructure benefit or transport-led incentive programs through which we can really establish a very strong traceability management, which can eventually become an export hub, for the rest of the country. From here, the dairy exports can happen to the globe. So these are few of the points which I wanted to comment, and one of the challenges as well as the outcomes which I wanted to share. The fourth point is how we can create an agri-tech intervention in terms of creating a very strong logistics management in a real-time basis to facilitate right from the quality of milk, the timeliness of the milk, and the data at which we require to manage this entire. This is also all these four aspects together through this inclusion mechanism, through in terms of investment, in terms of creating this dairy sourcing hub or the logistics park, which I mentioned, along with a strong state intervention programs in terms of promoting and motivating the logistic provider to invest with a public-private participation. This will really help us to create a mega state as far as the dairy infrastructure and logistics is concerned. And before I end, I wanted to just share this. I want to leave the audience with this thought by saying that, sustainability also plays a very key role, in logistics management. For example, we are talking about environmental sustainability. Like, for example, when we are doing this primary leg logistics, almost 1,000+ tanker loads on a daily basis are moving in the roads, which creating pollution, which creating carbon footprints. So that is not sustainable over a period of time. Is there a way where through ASSOCHAM I can appeal that, through some incentives, at least from the primary level, from the collection points of the farmer to the first level of BMC, and we have an electric vehicle intervention for which the milk cans can be collected and be put in. So this is how step by step we can build in sustainability, in the entire ecosystem as well as the value, which I wanted to highlight in my presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghosh. It was lovely. Your points are well taken care of. I believe the Mohit will take it forward to minister level so that how it can be implemented and all. So, but these all are, whether it's sustainability, whether it's cold chain, whatever. So it is really, really badly needed, and it's very well thought through. So I believe that we should reach that soon. So one last question maybe to you. Does this COVID, this crisis, COVID-19 impacted anything in this business?
Of course, like any other business, dairy is also got impacted to a certain extent because, cows and cattle don't understand COVID or pandemic, right? So Absolutely. It is important. They will be continuously providing milk, and it is our duty also to see that how we can utilize those milk in different forms. Right. And when I'm talking about this cold chain management and as well as cold warehouses, many of the dairy institutions are actually converting this excess milk into powder consumption. But if we don't have these facilities within the state, it becomes all the more difficult as an ecosystem to utilize this excess milk and to leverage. And this is very, very important. So that is what I want to say, like, be it in pandemic, thanks that milk is an essential commodity. Thanks that, the consumption was there. However, there is an impact in terms of the HoReCa, in terms of the demand. However, as I said, we need to stand by the farmers. We need to ensure that we stand by the cattle and we take those excess milk. Like, for example, we announced no milk holiday, for milk mantra. That means we will continue to take milk. And but then we need these intervention programs. To collect to collect and store the milk during these stress times.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure talking to you. So, Mr. Misra, can I ask you two questions right now if you are ready? And am I audible, Mr. Misra?
Is this to me?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
to you,
yes,
Mr. Misra.
yes, I can do it.
Yeah. So, as I understand, so you deal with the system of sales and price discovery. So, limited reach to mandis, those are the issues. So, can I
Yes.
ask you one or two questions regarding this?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Do you think the existing marketing system in the state needs changes or any improvements, especially with respect to the aggregations or catchment area and accessibility? If so, then what are those?
In my view, yes, it needs
Okay.
a lot of changes in order to strengthen the economic viability of the farmers.
Mhm.
It needs a lot of changes, like you have to first of all, government should identify the catchment areas. Okay.
Right.
And till date, there is no such provision or agriculture policy by the state government. And for far off places, there should be the process of that before the crop season for far off places, so that
Okay.
the farmers can get informations regarding government policy as well as how to use mandis, which is accessible to, which will be more accessible for them. And for accessibility part, the road infrastructure is must not vital for farmers to access the mandis, because the mandis are normally situated in the block headquarters, right?
Right.
So, and which is a very, I mean, the road infrastructure in our state is not that it is not that good because it consists of different terrain, and the farmer has to cover a very long distance to reach the designated mandis, right?
Okay.
So a farmer has to spend a lot of time, lot of energy. They have to incur a lot of financial expenditure in order to reach these mandis and sell their produce. So if the road infrastructure can be built in a better manner, so that farmer can reach the mandis easily.
Awesome. Okay. So infrastructure part, if you ask me, I mean, the roads are good. I believe the block area you are mentioning, right? The block
Yes.
area or where the mandis are there.
Yes.
So that's why it's either because it's a rain prone area. So that's why some challenges are there, right?
Yes, yes. And the farmers of the tribal areas, particularly the tribal districts,
Right.
they don't have that much of financial well-being with them to incur a huge amount of financial expenditure to get the tractors, trucks, to carry their produce to the mandis. So if the, the road infrastructure along with the carriage system, the government can arrange a carriage system for them, that will be better for
Right.
the farmers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for this. So one more question, let me ask you. How can ENAM be promoted and successfully implemented in the state? What's your views on this?
It's a good point. And for this thing, I may suggest to open some agri cafes. Agri cafe, I mean, agri cafe in the line of cyber cafes, so to say.
Yeah.
If the government can open a lot of agri cafes in tribal districts, rural areas, or panchayat headquarters, so to say, and those cafes will be manned by the farming community. So that the person who runs the cafe can understand the problem faced by the farmers very easily and suggest the solutions accordingly. Okay. By this way, they can. And one more part I may put here.
Please.
Government of India, as well as the state government, they are planning to, in the last agri policy, they are planning to focus on one product, one agricultural product for one district. Okay, one district, one product. In that case, the area, one particular area, the farmers of one particular area can produce one product in a huge quantity, right? And subsequently, at the same time, the different parts of the country may need this that product in lump sum amount, which can give these farmers a better market, and they can fetch better price.
Excellent.
So, if government can man these agri cafes and give the desired information to the farmers, farmers can sell their product at the designated places and get more money. That will be good for them.
Excellent. So I believe that ASSOCHAM will take this forward to the government so that it can be implemented well. So, and thank you so much, Mr. Misra, for the suggestions. It's well taken care of. So thank you for all this. So let me ask Mr. Bolo, are you there in the call? Mr. Ranjit Bolo, are you there in the call? Mohit, can you please check whether he is there in the call or not?
Yes, he's there. He's there.
I am Ranjit Bala.
Sorry, Mr. Bala. I'm so sorry. So, yes Mr. Bala. So, let me ask you one or two questions. So, what are some of these successes?
I am representing from Odisha Cold Storage Association.
Absolutely. Yes, please.
In Odisha, so many cold storage established.
Right.
But maximum cold storage are closed now.
Okay.
And all new establishments are going to be closed near time because they are not getting product, agro product for their storing purpose.
Oh.
Why?
Okay.
Maximum cold storage are netting produced goods for storing purpose in Odisha. My question is why they are not getting product?
So, Mohit, please note down this question. I mean, like, I know that
maximum. Listen, in Odisha, maximum cold storage established for potato preservation, and new cold storage are established under the policy Potato Mission, which government started 4 years back. Potato Mission to fulfill our potato shortage in Odisha public. Under this mission, maximum cold storage established. It is fact that Odisha, land of Odisha is fertile for producing potato, but this state import 90% of their requirement from other state.
Okay.
We are our land, our capacity, our farmers are capable to produce potato. In previous, they are producing also, but now they are importing maximum product from other state. Why? We have land, we have farmers, we have storing facility, everything we are having, but we are 90% of our requirement importing. Something problem with us in practically our government and our agriculture department, or they have not practical, they don't know, I think, practical, what is the practical problems.
Mr. Bala, if you are aware of the practical problems, I would request you to enlighten. Yes, you can enlighten us. You can enlighten us so that we will able to understand if what are the practical problems and how this can be solved and all.
Main problem is that our farmers are not interested to produce their agro product for commercial purpose.
Okay.
They are producing vegetables, potatoes, and some other products for their own consumption. They are not interested for commercial interested for commercial agro production. First problem, because when they are producing, they have incurred cost, and they are forced to sell after post harvesting time. They are forced to sell that their product to market in any cost, because they have to fulfill their incurred costs at the time of production. They have no financial support from bank.
Okay.
It is the main problem. If we will fulfill their their cost after post harvesting, they will preserve their product for off season marketing.
Okay.
First. Secondly, our cost of production, every state is now competitive for producing their agro product. Competitive. Our technique, our culture is for cost of production agro product, it's more costly.
Okay.
Our seed, our technology, our government support, everything is not competitive to compete other neighboring state. So our production cost is more. So in market, other state product is more attractive. So we are purchasing product from West Bengal, from other state in the state of Odisha. If we will get logistic support, then we can produce more. Our farmer will produce more if they have get logistic support to supply their product to market or cold storage like this. I think these two things, cost of to reducing cost of product and to support cost of product through financing, these two things can can make interest them or produce more for commercial purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Bala. This is a valid point. So well taken care of. So we will take this to the highest level in the government and see what best can be done there. Maybe capacity building and your points is very well taken care of. Thank you. Mohit, it's over to you.
Yes, Rashmi, thank you so much for this your moderating part. I would ask Mr. Balaji. Mr. Balaji, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you one question. Like, what are your recommendations for improvement of warehousing facilities in Odisha? Like, what suggestion you can give so that we can take it forward for state of Odisha?
already we have sufficient warehousing cold rooms. We have having sufficient cold rooms.
Yes.
Which are unutilized. Now we have to survive them. We have to survive them by supporting logistic support, electric tariff support, and getting product for preservation. And main thing is to get product for preservation on rent, which is depend on our farmers. If we will support farmers, then they will produce more and they will send their product to the cold storage. Then automatically cold storage will be viable and exist.
Correct. Any more suggestions, sir? Would you like to tell us so that we can take it forward?
My suggestion is that first of all, our bankers SLBC team have to announce they will finance financial support to farmers against their post-harvesting product. Post-harvest product.
Okay.
Through warehouse
yes. Yes, sir.
After preservation, after coming their product to cold storage, against that store receipt, they will finance farmers against their storing product.
Okay.
It is, and our agriculture marketing board will monitor or regulate all the policies of this all the policies through in between cold storage, farmers, and bankers. Horticulture department have to regulate these things. I am saying about West Bengal policy. This policy is maintaining by West Bengal government, UP government also.
Okay. Anything else you want to mention, sir?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Can I bring Abhishek ji in it? So Abhishek ji, there's a couple of things which has come up from Ranjit ji. So, I mean, Central Warehousing Corporation, how do you see this scenario? I mean, it's basically a storage being unutilized.
Yeah, unutilized storage, ma'am, this question regarding unutilized, but our utilization is 93% in the state of Odisha. So we can't say that our storage facility is unutilized. 93% is in out of 3.36 lakh metric ton. It is not unutilized, it is already utilized. Yeah, some of the warehouse like in Berhampur, it is a big capacity, 45,000 metric ton. There are some less utilization is there, but in all of the other districts where we have capacity, it is already utilized. Yes, one of the suggestions that my side, there will be that if we declare warehouse as trade area in Odisha, then it will be helpful for small and marginal farmers for e-trading platform from that warehouse only, and it will be beneficial for all the farmers of the Odisha. If trade area is declared, warehouses has declared a trade area under Farmers Produce Trade Commerce Act, then it will be beneficial to us. And one more thing, that how can we utilize our warehouses most prominently, that if we develop integrate agri technology with agri logistics, it is one of the sector. Likewise, if we develop agri logistic park in one premises, suppose that there is a huge production of paddy in Bargarh district. there is a dealer in at one place, procurement is one place, and storage is at one place. All facilities, if we develop in one part, then farmers come in our warehouses, procurement will be going there. If mill is there, paddy processed there, and we store the rice in same warehouses. So from this platform, I request these two things, that for more and more utilization of the warehouse and the transformation and of the or integration of the agri technology with the agri logistics. So, ma'am, any questions or more? Then I am here to answer them.
Excuse me, sir. I am saying about cold storage.
Does anybody have any questions?
I am saying about cold storage warehouse, but I think you are saying about normal warehouse.
Yeah, I am already asking. I am already explaining about general warehousing, normal warehousing.
But
I
my subject is cold storage, cold chambers.
Yeah, cold chambers in Odisha, CWC is have not any cold space, cold chamber. So at present, I am not able to answer your question.
Okay, thank
you. Thank you so much, everyone. And with this, we are going to end this session. And again, thank you for everyone for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Mr. Ghosh, special thanks to you. We will be in touch with you on the wonderful suggestions which you have given. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Parvinder. For sure.
Thank you.